Hi, I'm Pat Gelsinger, CEO of VMware. Welcome to our America's vForum Online Fall 2017. Today's event is designed to update you on the latest VMware technology and to connect you with our IT experts. As the entire world is shifting to a digital economy, IT has to lead this transformation and help businesses of all sizes reinvent how we work and live. Before I get started, I wanted to remind you to submit your questions in the Q&A box found in the lower half of your screen. We'll be answering all your questions during this online vForum. One of the amazing things that we've seen is how science fiction has predicted what's become science fact. You remember Ellen Ripley in Alien when she strapped on the exoskeleton and went out to battle the alien? Well, today in Korea, this is how factory workers and steel workers of shipbuilding are starting to have superhuman strength to build ships. Who of us, doesn't resonate with that wonderful beam me up, Scotty, right? And of course, that's science fiction. But in what Einstein called spooky interaction at a distance, this idea of quantum entanglement, well, now Chinese scientists has demonstrated that they can have photons in quantum entanglement at 300-mile distance into space. Wow, spooky at a distance. Or genetically modified insects. And Hollywood has always been sort of fascinated with this idea. And now we're seeing that with CRISPR, we're able to permanently modify mosquito DNA and maybe eradicate the Zika virus as a result. I guess I'm looking forward to the kind of mosquitoes that don't bite me in the future. But amazing things are happening. And as we think about these, maybe the most profound change of all is our perspective, our reference, what we see as the expectations every day. And, we're seeing this all over the place. I mean, my 1-year-old granddaughter, she pinches and pokes and zooms on my iPhone when she gets it in her hands at 1 year old. And maybe an example of this idea of mind-blowing to mundane is your first drive in an autonomous vehicle. And I've done a couple of them now. And I'll say, when you first get in, it's like, who is holding the wheel? Can I really trust this? I mean, you just have this fearful euphoria, right, that's going on. And then, right, being a sort of a geeky guy, you go into this fierce questioning. And I guess I lasted 4 or 5 minutes, but everybody starts saying, how does it work? What are the sensors? What's really going on? What happens if I lose internet connectivity? And then 4 minutes later, it's like, this is boring, right? This thing drives slower and more cautiously than my grandmother on Sunday. When are we going to get there? From mind-blowing to mundane in less than 5 minutes. And we're seeing these radical transformations happen everywhere that we look. Media, banking, retail, healthcare, every one of them is going through a fundamental transition. They're being transformed by IT. Tech is leaving the nest of IT. And thinking about a couple of those examples, maybe one is just thinking about e-commerce. And it was, just 2 decades ago when these A companies were first being formed to redefine e-commerce. And as we think about that today, we're seeing that extraordinary changes in e-commerce. But even with the size of those, less than 10% of e-commerce has been shifted in a fundamentally digital way. A long way to go. And we at VMware are thrilled to be working with brands like Amadeus and Nike, companies that are fundamentally changing their business in a new and radical way. Or maybe another example would be telcos. And, in telcos, we're looking forward to this period that's called the 5G, the next major build out. And as you think about on one end of the spectrum, it's 100x of bandwidth requirements that they're trying to deliver through new AR or VR experiences. But on the other end, maybe 100x the amount of devices that are being connected in IoT type use cases. So 100x the bandwidth, 100x the devices that are being connected, and it's going to be built in a fundamentally new way. And that's what NFV is all about. Can we actually build an underlying architecture that enables this next generation world? And as virtualized as the data center has become, the service provider, the telco network infrastructure, is still built in vertical silos with dedicated equipment to each one of these. And we believe in an NFV world that will be built fundamentally differently, that will be fully virtualized, and then on top of it will be new applications and cloud infrastructure that are being delivered in a cloud way, a software-driven network that will fundamentally change telco. And this is why we just announced VMware Integrated OpenStack 4.0, the fourth version of our OpenStack offering specifically focused on the telco market. And we're working with some of the leading telecommunication and service providers in the world. And we're thrilled with a major partnership with Vodafone, who's taking the VMware NFV architecture into the core of their infrastructure. Great progress in the service provider market. And as we think about these industry shifts, we see this creative destruction happening over and over again. I'm from a farming community. In fact, when I was growing up, I thought I'd be a farmer. A few years ago, my dad was with his 9 brothers and brother-in-laws, and I looked around the table. Not one of them had all 10 of their fingers. Farming, a hard life. And if you look at this picture, from 80 to less than 2% of the U.S. workforce in farming, it's been entirely changed. And given my own experience, I say that's not a bad thing, because fundamentally we're about creating new high-value jobs. It's not about bringing manufacturing back. It's about changing manufacturing and moving it into higher-value functions and services into the future. That's what we as technologists are doing. We're creating new jobs of higher value and higher strategic capability. And in the past, we might have called the 3 R's of education: read, write, and arithmetic. In the future, it's read, write, code, and arithmetic. That's what's required for the workforce of the future. And fundamentally, businesses across every industry are saying, how do I make IT, how do I make applications the center of my customer experience? How do I build and create competitive differentiation and deliver it through these new app environments? And this is what the VMware vision is all about: being able to take any device, deliver any application from any cloud. And this vision has increasingly gotten momentum. And we're excited to see that every piece of this is gaining momentum. And we're expanding it in a couple of key ways. One is reaching into the telco network and being able to say it's not just about virtualizing data centers and connecting clouds, but that core telco NFV environment. And then extending and reaching to all of the IoT and edge computing devices as well. Taking all of it together, VMware, a comprehensive vision for tech leaving the nest of tech, IT becoming central to every business and every domain. Now, as we think about this idea of edge and IoT, I'm just amazed, and over my career, you get to start to see patterns across the industry. And one is the move to centralized, and cloud has been a force of centralization over the last decade or so. But edge and IoT will be a force toward decentralization. And we've seen this movement back and forth over time from centralized to distributed environments. And edge and IoT will be a force toward edge and distributed computing. And we're thrilled with this idea of cloud meeting the edge, where the physical world meets the digital world. And against this is why VMware announced our Pulse architecture, a set of families that are going to deliver secure, managed, connected devices that build the infrastructure that allow us to reach to the edge and secure all of those edge experiences. And we're thrilled to have Toyota, right, the largest car manufacturer in the world, partnering with us to take advantage of the Pulse architecture and make it a critical aspect of how they look to the connected car of the future, how they're managed, secured, and connected. Let's look a little bit further at the any device, any application piece of this picture. And as we think about our devices, fundamentally it's about how do I get my apps connected to my people? How do I close the gap between those two worlds, bringing those worlds together? And as we think about that, this picture is way more complicated than we think it should be. Too many problems, too many vendors associated with putting all of those pieces together. And against that, VMware said, can we come to a simpler answer? Can we do this a better way? And that's what Workspace ONE is all about. Putting those pieces together into an integrated solution that brings all of that complexity and simplifies it into a single integrated offering. And for that, Workspace ONE is to enable three things: apps and identity, a consistent app and identity experience across all of your devices and applications. Second, that it's done in a managed and secure way that is also consistent across all of those devices and applications. And finally, for today's desktop environment and mobile and the emerging mobile and connected device experiences as well. And VMware's Workspace ONE has been unquestionably seen as the industry way to accomplish that problem. We began with Apple. That's really where AirWatch, our core technology in this space, began. And we expanded that to say we're going to do that for all the Android devices. We're going to deepen that relationship with key vendors like Samsung and integrate deeply with them. But also now Windows and Win 10 management. And as Microsoft has said, SCCM is no longer the way to manage your devices. And a modern unified endpoint management architecture, they too agree this is the way to the future. We announced at Dell EMC World earlier this year a deep integration of Workspace ONE into the client itself with Dell, and Chrome, which we announced just a few weeks ago, a unique partnership that we have to have them to manage the Chrome devices in a consistent way. And finally, we're pleased to announce a deep partnership with HP as well. So HP will be integrating and offering their device as a service platform based on the VMware technology. Unquestionably, Workspace ONE, the broadest ecosystem of solutions in the marketplace, by far aligned with this solution to simplify that space for any app to any device. So let's look a little bit closer at the cloud aspect of this picture as well, starting with private clouds. And when we think about private clouds, one of the challenges is make it easy. And clearly that cloud experience, people want it to be easy to deploy, easy to manage, and easy to secure. They want that cloud experience, but in their own data center. Now, historically, we used to build a lot of things ourselves, right? And I remember, in fact, I was just cleaning out my garage a couple of weeks ago, and that is exactly my soldering iron that I had. I found my voltmeter, I updated the batteries in, and then it still works. And I used to just love putting PCs together. I had built a PC with my son. He had a water-cooled dual graphics machine that literally we just retired a couple of years ago. But today we expect it as a solution that simply works. And that's exactly what the VMware Cloud Foundation is all about. Rather than you putting the compute, storage, and network components together and depositing that on hardware, we're doing it for you. And combined with Cloud Foundation lifecycle automation, we deliver all of the pieces. And we just released vCloud Foundation version 2.2, which has all the latest compute, storage, networking, and management technologies from VMware in an integrated solution. And underneath that, VMware vSAN, the fastest growing, most successful storage product in the industry today, and powering the ability to move to hyper-converged infrastructure. We do that with pre-tested and validated vSAN-ready hardware nodes, a rich ecosystem of solutions. And we're partnering with Intel as well as Dell and the 14G PowerEdge servers. And Intel has silicon guys, they just love anything that uses all of the capabilities of silicon. And nothing is better than VMware vSAN to take advantage of the latest generation of Intel processors. But again, buy it as a complete solution. And that's exactly what VxRack and VxRail are about. Hardware and software integrated and delivered as an appliance, and the leading solutions that we're delivering with VMware and Dell, VxRack and VxRail. And of course, underneath that solution, vSphere 6.5. And really, as we've seen the foundations of VMware based on the hypervisor that we've built and became the industry standard, 6.5 makes that better yet than ever before. A simplified user experience, built-in security capabilities, and fundamentally a platform for any application, from big data to the highest performance requirements, big mission-critical applications, vSphere 6.5. There's never been a better time to move forward. So let's look further at this picture of our VMware vision. Let's dig into public clouds. And as we've looked at public clouds, and our partnership with Amazon has probably catalyzed the industry more than anything that we've done over the last year, because the number one in public cloud coming together with the number one in private cloud to create a seamless, compelling experience has enormous excitement from our mutual customers. And now we've had the initial availability of this service, overwhelming interest from our customers in the marketplace, and a huge amount of excitement for the capabilities that we're going to be offering together with Amazon as we look forward. Initial availability in the first availability zone in the US, second one before the end of this year, quarterly releases, and over the course of the next year, available everywhere that Amazon has an availability zone. The VMware Cloud on AWS will be made available. A powerful new capability, an exciting customer enthusiasm. We also just released VMware HCX technologies. And clearly, we're building on core platform technologies like NSX and vSphere and vMotion. But on top of that, the ability to take complex workloads, to understand the gateways, the protocols, the complex application configurations, and be able to create a seamless experience to both migrate and to operate in a hybrid cloud way. And we're working with key partners like IBM and OVH to make this available, to accelerate your ability to take advantage of a hybrid cloud environment. VMware HCX technologies, the fastest way to migrate and move to a multi-cloud world. And the partnership with IBM, huge momentum. We announced this a little bit over a year ago, and now we have thousands of customers now taking advantage of VMware and IBM coming together. And IBM is committed to be the first partner delivering HCX into the marketplace through their cloud, as well as through their global solutions capabilities. Overall, huge momentum behind IBM and VMware coming together. When we laid out our cloud vision a bit over a year ago, we said make private cloud easy, build these deep partnerships with the major cloud providers, continue to expand our VMware Cloud Provider Program, which today has over 4,400 partners as part of it, and deliver a rich set of cloud services. So let's look more closely at those cloud services and why CIOs are so motivated for them. Clearly, these are some of the things that we hear when we talk to CIOs around the world. The ability to move fast, to take advantage of multiple clouds. And for that, VMware is delivering two unique capabilities. One is a consistent infrastructure from private cloud to major public cloud providers and to our rich set of VMware cloud partners. And today we're announcing the VMware Cloud Verified program. This is the next tier of our VMware Cloud Provider Partner program, which says they've aligned to the full VMware SDDC stack, taking advantage of the full VMware Cloud Foundation technology and delivering a more consistent and capable VMware experience to our customers. And these are our first partners, CenturyLink, Fujitsu, IBM, OVH, and Rackspace, the first set of partners that are VMware Cloud Verified, and we're looking forward to have many more in the future. So consistent infrastructure, but also when applications are running on other native clouds like Google or Microsoft, maybe not built on the VMware technology stack, customers are still looking for consistent operations. I want to have the same management to networking and security experience across those multiple cloud environments. And this is exactly what the VMware Cloud Services enable. Consistent operations across all clouds, even those built on other technologies than VMware. And against that, we're thrilled to announce our first 7 services that provide things like discovery and cost analytics and being able to do performance metrics, and NSX as a common networking layer, VMware Cloud Services, consistent operations across all clouds. So overall, the VMware cloud strategy, consistent infrastructure, consistent operations, rich set of network partners working with services around the world, and uniquely delivering IT agility while reducing complexity and risk. VMware Cloud, the most comprehensive cloud strategy of any provider in the industry today. So digging in a little bit further in networking. And networking is so core and central to everything that we're doing at VMware. And I've gone as far as saying that NSX is more important to VMware in the future than vSphere has been in the past. And we see this idea of NSX, this common software layer, moving us from data centers to centers of data. And today, it's delivered in private clouds. We've extended it as part of our AirWatch and Workspace ONE technology to the mobile and desktop environment. We're announcing the capability to make it native to container development environments as well with our pivotal container service offering. We're making it part of our solutions for telco networks and our NFV solution, as well as making it a key element of how we reach to IoT and branch environments. And finally, as we just described, into public cloud environments as well, a consistent networking layer across any public cloud. Taken together, NSX, enabling us to move to centers of data with a common networking and security model anywhere built on NSX. So maybe the most important piece of this then is security. And we hear from CIOs that this ends up being one of, if not the most important question for them. And as we think about security, it really has a simple challenge, right? Protect my apps and data. But it has to do so in an increasingly complex world of multi-clouds where you control less of the devices, the networks, and the infrastructure that it's operating on. And that attack surface becomes more and more challenged by different types of cyber threats. And for you as CIOs and IT specialists, this is your challenge. You have thousands of companies and products for you to stitch together and deliver a secure environment. How do you make that work? VMware answer to this is we have to simplify that picture. And first, we're going to integrate many of those fundamental security capabilities directly into the infrastructure products that we deliver. Secondly, we have to work more deeply with the ecosystem and integrating and making all of the management, the testing, the validation, the workflows standardized, integrated, and proven with those ecosystem partners. And finally, enabling a level of cyber hygiene so that you can consistently be doing the simple things well and all the time making sure they're done in your environment. And maybe it's like a sports team. If you want to have a winning team, you practice the basics. And the basics in cyber hygiene, are things like, right, can I have least privilege, right? If I don't have explicit access, I don't get access. Microsegmentation, many layers of protection. It's like getting past the lobby in a bank. You've got nothing. You've got many layers to go. Data is encrypted. Any critical application, it's encrypted data. And if you steal my data, you just got a bag of encrypted bits. If you phish my password, you got nothing unless you have multiple factors. And finally, consistent software and patching. If you would do these things well and consistently, you would not be Sony or OPM or Target. All of those were the basics were not done well. We also know that next year, GDPR becomes a critical requirement in Europe, and we believe will become required across the world. And against that, VMware is working to enable you to help secure your data, automate your governance, secure our operations. And we can work with you on how to take advantage of the rich set of VMware solutions to make sure that you're accomplishing your GDPR requirements and objectives as well. So VMware is leading the way in developing secure infrastructure, and let's look a little bit more closely at how we're doing that. With Workspace ONE, we're doing that for users. And AirWatch to manage the devices themselves with NSX and microsegmentation. And we just released not just microsegmentation, but also encrypted microsegments as well. Storage, we've added native encryption into vSAN so that you can have both data reduction as well as encryption. And you don't have the complexity and the cost as you had in the past. But what about compute? Our most valuable and important footprint that we have today for you is in the compute, but we've never taken advantage of that for enabling secure infrastructure. So let's think about a workload where you have multiple processes running inside of an operating system environment. What you're doing is so often chasing bad, right? You have millions of things going on, packets, right? And tens of millions of virus scans to find that one little piece of bad. That's hard. But could we think about this differently? Could we say, let's ensure good, let's know the good behavior, and then any deviations from that, take action based on it. And it's sort of like today, so much of security is like looking for a needle in a haystack. And instead of that, can we actually get rid of most of the hay and just make sure that we're doing this least privileged architecture, ensuring good in a consistent way? And that's exactly what App Defense is out to do. First, App Defense uses the virtual machine and creates a manifest for good behavior. Combination of provisioning environments, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, we can know what good looks like. Second, we can then detect any deviation. Since we're in real time seeing what's happening inside of the virtual machine, we can immediately say something different has happened. We can detect, and we can also automate response to it as well. We could say, we immediately should stop this VM. We should immediately alarm or block its behavior and not let it go external, maybe turn on full network packet detection and capture. We can immediately address response behaviors in an automated way. App Defense allows us to capture, detect, and respond, ensuring good as has never been possible before. We're also then working with the ecosystem, and we're thrilled with, even as we're just announcing App Defense, the response from the ecosystem has been tremendously positive to this idea of turning security on its head and ensuring good. Taken together, transforming security, building secure infrastructure, deeply partnering with the ecosystem, and enabling consistent cyber hygiene. Overall, the VMware vision is powerful, complete, and it continues to refine as we look to the future capabilities. We're thrilled by the many new products and technologies and how we are enabling you to realize your business challenges and opportunities in a powerful new way. Thank you very much, and it's just been a pleasure to update you on the VMware strategy and vision today. And now, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce Manib Minhazuddin. He'll talk to you about how you can partner with VMware to build new skills and harness new game-changing technologies. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pat. That was an awesome keynote. Pat went through the dynamics in the industry that are going on, from digital transformation and where things are at. Let's kind of double click into how CIOs are then focusing on transforming their businesses and where they're spending their priorities in 2017. We took a survey, and we continue to survey every 3 months, and a lot of the priorities, ranging from cloud computing all the way to social software, is their kind of top spend areas. If you focus on where VMware can really help, the biggest shift has been in things like cloud computing, like security, mobile solutions, server virtualization. That's interesting. So, we thought, how do we take and prioritize our solutions and help our customers, you, take your solutions to market? So we took these top priorities and brought them together in 3 key areas. One being cloud, and mobile, and security. These are the top agenda items for the CIOs today. And, why are these so critical? I think this is, because there's a huge drive in the marketplace for digital economy, just like Pat was laying out, where traditionally, when you had to start businesses, you had to invest quite into your back office processes and systems, and your front office, being retail outlets, etc. Today, you write an application as your new business idea. And all you do is you write that app and use host it on a cloud, and then you roll it out on a mobile phone. So suddenly your front office and back office experience is completely changed to mobile and cloud. And as this kind of evolves, security becomes critical because it's not rigid and fixed in one area anymore. Your surface attack has just expanded. So we're here to help you take those technologies from your data center to the cloud. It's the same technologies, at the same time, technologies from your desktop to your mobile phone and, mobile devices today to a large degree. And how do you secure all of them together? So, really at VMware, we're trying to take these priorities of our CIOs, cloud, mobile, and security, and provide 4 solutions areas for our customers, starting from how do you modernize your data centers to extend those data centers and integrate public cloud, and how do you deliver these applications from your data center to a digital workspace, and finally, how do you transform networking and security? Really, you can start your journey anywhere, but we assume most of our customers, you are a vSphere customer, like a lot of you, right? So how do I get started if I'm just a vSphere customer, and how do I modernize my data center? You can modernize your data center. You can start with extending the same principles of vSphere, of virtualization, and extending that to your network and security. So I've taken my vSphere virtualization environment and extended that into a network virtualization with NSX and storage with vSAN. You can do it at your own pace and automate the whole thing, or you can actually take it as Cloud Foundation, which is, Pat talked about, is stretching that same thing and by doing, compute network storage virtualization with lifecycle management. So you can actually modernize your infrastructure and lock it down and not have to worry about it. Now, one of the big benefits you get of this is how you can automate everything. Once you virtualize, one of the biggest benefits of virtualization and compute was how I could really, take that capacity and extend that to anywhere. Now, if you actually did that same virtualization of compute and extended that to networking and storage, I can get the benefit of an entire data center virtualization and automation. Automation gives you the benefit of deploying compute, network, storage, all of that at the push of a button, which is the expectation of public clouds today. So we're giving you the same capability in your private cloud to automate your compute, network, and storage. Now, once you've kind of taken all your workloads and virtualized them and automated them, they are also ready for modern applications. Modern applications today, they're really dependent on container technologies. Containers are really powerful because they're very small, simple, and portable. That's their strength. We've enabled container technologies into vSphere with vSphere integrated containers, with with NSXT building container support, and in vSAN. So really, that same modern infrastructure you just built, you can use to deploy your modern container apps. Now with their announcement with Google of PKS as well. So you see a full modern infrastructure that's automated with container support that you can take both your traditional applications as well as your cloud-native applications. Now that you're modernized your data center, you're expecting that should be the same footprint that lands also in my public cloud. So really, how do we extend that same technology? We've done our partnerships with, AWS, with IBM, with OVH, and about 4,400 of our, vCloud partners, right? So VMware Cloud partners, where we're taking that same technology, take the Cloud Foundation, and then landed that into these data centers so that from an application perspective, your customers don't have to repackage, refactor, rewrite these applications. You can simply re-platform these applications with the same technology, with the same skill sets and tools. That is really powerful. And that's why there's so much, excitement about our, partnerships in the cloud. That's where we have landed our technology elements. And we understand there's other choices as well with, if you take, Azure or Google Cloud, we also built these cross-cloud services which help you, discover where your workloads are, cost them, and secure and govern and manage these workloads across these multiple clouds. So really, you're kind of modernizing your infrastructure. You're taking the same footprint and you're landing that into in your public cloud platforms as well, and managing it end to end. Now that you've taken care of your infrastructure and your apps, how do I then deliver these applications to endpoints? And again, there's so much choice in this. Is we're simply bringing the power of mobile and desktops together and really empowering our digital kind of workspace to make simple app and access management. How do I take all these multiple applications, blend the user experience across both your mobile and desktop, and give you that single seamless digital workspace and simplify your app and access management across a multitude of endpoints, because endpoints are scaling from your mobile to your iPads to your desktops to your virtual desktops to IoT endpoints. So how do you manage them all under that same kind of umbrella? And finally, transform delivery. A lot of the workspace today in enterprises is still Windows. How to simplify and transform your Windows application. So you can completely kind of empower your digital workspace and add a lot of intelligence into how I go from being productive to be more intelligent in the delivery of our digital workspace. And finally, as Pat was pointing out, the whole security game is changing. I have to change the way I do networking and security and how I lock down infrastructure, right? So there's a lot of the cybersecurity attacks that happen today happen because intruders are already in there and they've got a free range of going east and west between the infrastructure. So really, how do I secure that app infrastructure? By building in microsegmentation with NSX, with building app defense capabilities at the hypervisor level to, detect, respond to such attacks that are happening. So that's really powerful as you kind of build in intrinsic security into the infrastructure itself so that you're not bolting security on a rigid mechanism. So that's helps you kind of secure your infrastructure for your application. At the same time, you have to also secure your endpoints where these applications are being accessed. So we again at VMware with Workspace ONE solutions and AirWatch, we can deliver those capabilities for you to do identity management, and secure your endpoints and ensure there's two-factor authentication. All those things can be done very cleanly in there. And finally, this is pretty powerful. I think Pat touched upon GDPR, the impact of GDPR in Europe, and any global business doing any operations in Europe. Is that where security solutions are being deployed are really all about how it's being governed. The power of GDPR was it respects the human rights for data. So who's responsible or accountable for your personal data is being compromised, and that puts a law and regulation around that. That's so powerful. It's fundamentally constitutional. So again, at VMware, we're trying to take all of that priorities over the CIOs and giving you tangible IT projects that you can take to be, transforming yourself for this digital economy. To continue your IT journey, I invite you to attend our breakout session starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time to learn more about how you can partner with VMware to build new skills and harness new game-changing technologies. You'll also have the opportunity to chat live with VMware experts, test drive the latest VMware technology through our awesome hands-on labs, and connect with your peers by visiting the exhibit hall. I hope you'll enjoy this event, and I look forward to your active participation. Thank you.